First, we have Mahi Bajoria, a junior at Westboro High School, and this summer was her second internship with Ekal. Mahi worked this summer to share her love for painting and crochet. She also led a collective mural project. Next, Myra Bajoria. She's also a junior at Westboro High School, and this was also her second time going to Chinwara. Myra has a passion for both art and dance, and she used those talents to lead her own creative workshops. Last year, both Mahi and Myra led a collective mural workshop together. Our third panelist is Rohan Gandhi. He's a sophomore at Algonquin Regional High School. Rohan shared his love for sports and service through his internship, and his enthusiasm and leadership helped inspire students to learn teamwork and discipline, all while having fun on the field. Next, we have Mihir Putt, a junior at Worcester Academy. Mihir is an avid athlete who plays basketball, soccer, and cricket. He also studies Indian classical music, both vocal and tabla. He's passionate about exploring new languages and cultures and brings that same curiosity and dedication to his service work. And finally, we have Myra Theagi, a 13-year-old 8th grader who loves art. Myra is an expert at expressing herself through colors and shapes and creativity. During her Ekal internship, she taught art to a group of 19-year-old students, helping them explore their creative sides. Unfortunately, Myra can't join us on stage today, but she will be sharing her thoughts in a video. And last but not least, of course, it's my pleasure to welcome Mahesh Navani, the vision behind the Ekal Yuva Udaan program. He will be our insightful moderator for the youth panel discussion. Please come on stage.
Thanks, Nandini. Thank you, Gauranga ji, for that inspirational speech, and thank you the co-chairs Vandana ji and Vivek ji for sharing your experiences. And a big round of applause to the kids who performed the songs. It was a big surprise to me too. Ekal Pranam, everyone. Ekal Pranam. It gives me immense joy to welcome you all to this very special Ekal Yuva Udaan session. Today we are not just meeting high schoolers here, we are meeting 5 young trailblazers. A few months ago these kids did something remarkable. They stepped out of their comfort zones. Instead of having a fun summer with family and friends, they traveled to the heart of rural Bharat, where our Ekal schools are. They wanted to teach the young students about dance, painting, crochet, basketball, and Raspberry Pi. I'll quiz you guys after that, what Raspberry Pi is. We know that learning always goes both ways. Today we want to hear what they discovered. This evening, as we hear their stories, let's open our hearts and minds and listen to the lessons they brought for all of us. Let's first welcome our young change makers with another round of applause, please. Hello kids, are you guys ready? You sure? I'll begin with you, Myra. Since you have been there, this is your second year. Can you share the story of one specific child who really connected with what you taught?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Technical difficulties.
It doesn't go always as expected, right?
Okay, so I've done this program twice, and there's one student who really stuck out to me both times. Her name's Boomy. I still remember the first day I went to the village. The teacher was calling off all the names of the people who would participate in our art workshop, and I saw her. She was practically bouncing up and down in excitement. But when the teacher was done, her name hadn't been called. I saw the disappointment settle over her features, and I was just as disappointed because I wanted to see what that enthusiasm was capable of. Thankfully, her determination had not wavered, and she came up to me after the speeches were over to ask if she could participate in the program. Of course I agreed, and the next day, she and some other girls brought in their own drawings, and they were beautiful. By the end of the art workshop, we had 3 murals that they had designed in addition to the larger one we had created. And she was no less determined in the dance workshop. She was always in the front of the class. She fixed other people's mistakes. She was a leader. And to me, Bhumi represents the spirit of those Banar villagers. She was eager to learn. She was persistent even though she had been originally denied that opportunity. And she was creative and disciplined. To me, she's living proof that if those students are given a chance, they will exceed your expectations.
That's a great observation. Mahi, you decided to take 2 workshops, crochet and painting at once. So how did you feel on taking these 2 workshops at once? And how did it encourage students to take on more individual leadership and grow their team building skills?
I think that trying to teach 2 workshops was definitely a challenge, in that there was less time to teach each one, but there were definitely benefits to me not looking over my students' shoulders all the time. With less time to work with the students individually, they got to learn more about team building and cooperation. They weren't necessarily independent as individuals, but they were dependent as a team. They began to rely on each other and support each other, working together to create their own community and to put their own creative spin on the projects.
That's great.
For my art students, they got to design the mural themselves, something that didn't happen last year, and they sketched basically the whole thing on the wall. And for my crochet students, they got to help their friends when somebody missed a step. A few of my students were even repeats from last year, so they got to take on more leadership within the project. Since we could only take a handful of students into the workshop, it comforts me knowing that since my students took such an active role in the workshop, they would be able to spread that knowledge and teach the other students who had missed that opportunity.
The mural they built was used last year as one of our logos when we went for our fundraising event. So that's awesome, Mahi. Well, how many of you know what Raspberry Pi is? You all know. I thought it was a baking contest. So Mayor, I learned its programming. How did you see the students change from day 1 to day 3 in terms of confidence with a new technology like Raspberry Pi?
Yeah, so me and Rohan's main goal in the classroom over the 4 or 5 days that we taught was mainly to just, plant the seed of interest. We weren't gonna make the kids full-fledged developers and engineers over the 4 or 5 days. We were merely just looking to plant that seed of interest so that after we left, they could further pursue their area of interest. So on the first day, we introduced what's called the Raspberry Pi. It's a computer. It's about the size of your hand. And just showing that to the kids definitely changed their definition of an idea of what a computer is. Most of us are used to big desktops with big screens, but it was about a hand size. And then we started teaching the kids how to build circuits, the different components, how to connect different components together through wires. We started introducing LEDs, sensors, buzzers, and over the 3-4 days that we taught, they began to become more comfortable with putting the different components on the circuit together and making them interact through code. So their logic and overall problem-solving skills were definitely things that we saw them improving.
So did you form small teams to win these projects?
Yeah, me and Rohan, we put the kids in groups of 3 so that they can build team building and also help each other. If someone wasn't understanding a certain concept, they could help each other and all grow in knowledge.
That's awesome. Another example of team building. Rohan, Bharat is a cricketing country and you went to teach them basketball. What made you do that? And did you notice differences in how the Ekal students approached learning this new sport compared to you?
So yeah, definitely. The Ekal students were very eager to learn and genuinely curious about everything. Even without much access of these sports like basketball, their excitement made every moment fun. When they first started playing, they listened so carefully and tried to copy every move, whether it was dribbling, passing, or shooting. What stood out to me most was their effort and determination. Even when they missed shots or struggled, they never gave up. You could see how proud they were when they got better each day. And back home, we sometimes take these things like sports or school for granted, but for them, every lesson felt like a big opportunity. And it really made me appreciate how powerful motivation and curiosity can be.
Did you use any intra squads to make it more competitive?
Yeah, we created like 2 teams when they were playing like games or stuff like that. We also did like individual training, but mostly we did team training too.
Nice. Myra, back to you. You mentioned walking in one day to find the girls practicing the dance on their own. What went through your mind at that moment?
I would say initially I was just shocked, and then I was filled with pride. You all have to understand that learning a dance in 4 days, getting it performance ready in 4 days, is incredibly difficult. And by the 3rd day, we had finished learning the choreography, sure. But there were still some girls who were finding it challenging, missing steps, not being able to keep their energy up, or just not being on beat. However, when I arrived on the first day, I could hear the music blaring out of the room. And when I walked in, they were so concentrated they didn't notice me. And I couldn't see any of the errors I'd witnessed the previous day. They were all counting together, fixing each other's mistakes. They were disciplined and hardworking, and I think that's when I finally realized that the dance was no longer just mine. It was ours. I had put a lot of work into it. I had practiced and choreographed for hours long before I taught them the dance. But their passion and their energy is what made our performance truly successful. And I think that's the true power of youth teaching youth. It's not one person in front of a classroom telling everyone what to do. It's teammates standing next to each other to fix each other's mistakes and help each other improve. It reminded me that our workshop wasn't just about them following me, but them finding their own drive and confidence.
And doesn't it show that last segment of that video where they're learning the parcham? Yes. Does it not show that they learned it on their own? Mahi, crochet and art are sometimes seen as traditionally feminine crafts. How did you encourage both girls and boys to participate, and what impact do you think it had on their mindset and on your own?
I think that one of the benefits of learning as a young person is definitely that we aren't as hindered by the traditions of the past. Even though the boys were hesitant, they weren't morally against the idea of crochet. And all it took was showing them what they could make and what they could do that got them on board. I'm so glad that Ekal has such a strong stance on gender equality, but I think it's also important that we focus on dismantling gender stereotypes. Because even though a girl can obviously do anything as good as a boy could do, a boy can also complete that task just as well. Teaching art and crochet helped broaden their horizons, and it taught them and me that we don't have to be limited by gender stereotypes as we pursue our dreams. Even though it's crochet today, in a few years these young students will be pursuing what they want in the future. And I hope that this small shift in their mindset will help them look at the world of opportunities in a way that is unbiased and not blinded by the backwards ways of thought that have permeated our past.
That's awesome. You show that boys can do other jobs also, not just engineering. Mayor, as we said, you went to teach a new technology. If you had one more week with these students, what kind of project would you love to teach them next?
If I had one more week with these kids, I think I would definitely, team up with the kids to try to build something that's directly applicable to the environment they live in. Obviously, agriculture is very prevalent in their society, in their area. For example, we could use moisture sensors, put them in the soil in the farms, and use that to create a smart and adaptive irrigation system so that instead of set times of irrigation of water flowing out, we can use the moisture sensor in the soil to regulate when the water comes out and therefore conserve water. And also through that effort, maybe one farmer he says to the next guy, you should use this technology too. So through that we can spread technology for the better in their society.
Mayor is starting his own startup. Anybody want to invest with him?
Yes.
I'm his broker. Rohan, was there a point where you felt that kids stopped being shy students and became your friends?
Yeah,
What
so
happened that made you feel that connection?
Yeah, so that happened on the second day when we taught basketball to the boys. At first, they were quiet and unsure, but once we started playing, everyone loosened up. We were laughing, cheering, and just having fun together. To make things even more fun, we started using Indian food names as our team names, like Team Paneer. It instantly made everyone laugh and helped us connect even more. It broke the ice and made it easier to communicate. By the end, it didn't feel like we were teachers and students, it just felt like friends hanging out. Also, I'd like to reinforce what Mahi said. When I first went there, I planned on only teaching boys, but to my pleasant surprise, I also got to teach the girls, and they were just as curious and excited.
Myra, you said this program taught you to appreciate what you have and seize opportunities. How do you see that lesson impacting the way you approach challenges in your own life?
Yeah, I used to think that opportunity was about luck, just waiting for the right door to appear in front of you. But watching the girls in Banar completely shifted my perspective. I realized opportunity isn't just about doors opening, but the mindset and attitude you bring to what's standing in front of you. If the right door doesn't appear, you have to build it yourself. And you have to build it with optimism, dedication, and hard work. And that's what they showed me every day. They danced through heat. They literally danced through rain for hours and hours each day. Yet, each time they made a mistake, they still laughed. And they were smiling the entire time. Their attitude taught me that how you face challenges is much more important than the challenges themselves. I'm sure we all complain about our problems all day. It's easy. I'm sure you all have at some point today. But sometimes I think the smartest, best course of action is that of a Banar student. Take a deep breath, laugh, if that helps, and keep going.
Deep breath right now. Mahi, this was your second trip to the villages. How have you both your hats and for Hope Project and your art workshop developed since then? And how have they grown to join people and communities?
That's a really good question. I think what I love to see over these past 2 years is how these projects have grown, because 2 years ago, it was just me in my room crocheting away, making these hats and blankets that I would give away who knows when. But since then, in 2 years, in much more than 250 hours later, the project has grown to include so many people that honestly, I never could have imagined it. Of course, there are the incredible volunteers from Ekal, both here and in India, but I also received a surprising amount of aid from people who probably wouldn't have anything to do with the project if they hadn't insisted on helping. At the home base in India, there was my extended family who helped me gather materials and make arrangements. Their help was integral to the success of the workshop, and it really goes to show that if you extend your hand, countless others will join you. At the village, there were of course my students who were my learners, especially my crochet students, who expressed interest in donating the hats once they had learned the basic stitches. Because it was really important to me not only to teach them how to receive, but give. This wasn't just a workshop about learning crochet or art. It was also a lesson in compassion and sympathy. Because while they lack opportunities, there are always people who need the help just as much. So I hope that together they learned to build their community, joining the school, the US, and villages across rural India. There was also the art workshop, and there's something special in a communal mural, since it's essentially the collaboration of different people, ideas, and values. It started with the students, but soon it grew to include the principal, along with a bunch of kids from the primary schools who insisted on helping. My goal has always been to bridge the gap not only between cultures and places, but also people. And even though it's still a work in progress, I'm glad to see those efforts being made, from one person to one community to entire countries.
That's great, Mai. Mihir, if you had to describe one skill or life lessons the kids learned from you, what would it be and what did they teach you in return?
So, over the 3-4 days, me and Rohan, we try to teach the kids the patience and the hunger you need to solve these engineering problems, specifically in the context of computer programming. Because in programming, I'm sure most of you know, you're always running into a bunch of errors, whether it's just a silly error like syntax error, or if it's a conceptual error. You know, we try to teach the kids that you have to have perseverance and push through these errors and really put your head down and work until you get the outcome that you want. And then one thing I think I can say for the both of us that we learned from them was just their humility and learning and their willingness to learn. Never once did we see the kids, you know, sigh or put their head down or complain maybe when we introduced a new concept or we went a little bit above the class time or we tried to push them a little bit. They were always humble and they always said yes to us. They always, you know, put their head down and worked. And that's something that, I mean, I can say for myself, I don't do very well and that we can all learn from and cherish. And the kids, they also made me and Rohan start speaking a little bit of Hindi and Gujarati. I've never spoken those languages really. So, you know, they also kind of tied us back to our culture and our roots.
Okay, can both of you speak something you learned in Hindi and Gujarati?
Something.
You say in Hindi.
કેમ છો? કેમ છો? ખાવું છે?
No, that's Gujarati.
I can go first. No, I'll go.
What? I didn't hear you.
मुझे मटर पनीर चाहिए.
Okay, Rohan, what did you learn in Gujarati?
મને બહુ ભૂત ભાવે છે.
You're almost there, guys. Rohan, you said this trip wasn't just about basketball or coding, but what about the connection and community? How do you think this experience will influence the way you approach opportunities back home?
Yeah, so this trip really changed how I look at things. It taught me that connection always comes first, even before the projects. The way the community in Songur welcomed us and supported us, it shows me how powerful kindness and teamwork can really be. Everyone there gave me that sense of unity, and that really stuck with me. Back home, I want to approach opportunities with that same mindset, focusing more on building real relationships, being patient, and appreciating every experience, instead of just rushing through things. It also made me realize how much impact small actions can have. Something as simple as taking the time to talk, listen, or help someone can make a huge difference. I want to carry that same spirit of connection and gratitude into everything I do moving forward.
Okay, this is a question for all of you. If you could tell the audience here one reason to support the Ekal Yuva Udaan program again, what would you say?
One reason to support the Ekal Yuva Udaan program is you learn as much as you teach.
I'd say that it's by supporting us, you're also supporting those people that need the opportunities the most.
I would say Ekal goes to areas that are often overlooked and really makes a difference. And also, for those of you who go there, you learn a crucial skill in how to connect and teach kids and interact with kids that are from a different cultural background or might speak a different language, which is a skill that I think is very, very, very crucial.
What do you know?
I'd support this experience because it really opens your eyes and changes the way you look at things.
So you heard these wonderful 4 kids. I had mentioned there were 5. The youngest of them couldn't be here today on stage. So we are going to play a short 1-minute video and listen to her message.
My name is Myra Tiaki, and I am 13 years old. I recently went to India on an internship program to teach kids art in a small village. I'm usually shy and quiet, so this trip was a big challenge for me. When I arrived, everyone was so kind. They welcomed us with flower petals and smiling. One of the biggest moments for me was teaching a group of 19 kids. Many of them were much older than me. At first, I felt nervous and unsure. But once I started, I realized that they were here to learn, and that made me feel okay. One of the girls in my art class taught me to apply mehndi, which I had never done before. It started with simple drawings to break the ice, and then moved on to full paintings. One day, as a team, we made a big canvas together, using handprints to look like the Indian flag. It was a really special moment. We also visited Ekal School in a village where kids sang prayers. They wore worn-out school uniforms. Even though they didn't have much, they seemed happy, content, and welcoming. It made me think about how lucky I am and how important it is to share what we have. This trip helped me grow. I stepped out of my comfort zone and met amazing people. The kids I met are just like me, but they don't have the same chances. I'm proud I got to teach them something, and I'll always remember this experience.
Kids, I'm extremely proud of you all. I'm sure you all are also. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your lessons, and your discoveries. You are truly the wings of our Udaan. I'm sure your first step this year will soon be followed by many more marching steps in the years ahead. Can you please give them another round of applause, please? To all the parents here,
Ahead of time.
this is a gift of Ekal Yuva Udaan.
You are always
It is not only
it's
not only about what we give to Bharat, but also about what we receive from her. You know what goes around comes around. When our children go to serve, they often return with a deeper connection to their roots, stronger values, a wider sense of purpose and community. And to our young change makers, thank you for showing us that Seva is not just charity. It's a bridge of love, learning and self-discovery. सेवा से संस्कार, संस्कार से शक्ति, यही है उड़ान की सच्ची भक्ति. Let's keep this Yuva Udaan alive. May our young seekers stay connected with their roots in Bharat and carry her spirit wherever they go. Thank you.
Linning, stay here, Jim, please. That was absolutely incredible. What these kids did was stepping outside their comfort zone, showing each one of us what true Seva really means. And to honor these kids today, these remarkable youth, I would like to invite Dr. Manju Shet, physician, president of INE Multimedia and host of Chai with Manju, who has been with us throughout this journey. Having interviewed Gauranga Das ji on Chai with Manju and with these young achievers featured by Women Who Win, it is only fitting that she presents their latest book, Girls Who Win, which has Myra and Mahi's story in it to each of these remarkable youth. Thank you so much.